All right, good morning. Happy Friday to everyone. I was just listening to, it's called this Global Resilience Summit, and I always get inspired by these speakers. So I just have to tell you before we begin, because I always feel like thinking about something bigger than ourselves or some type of taking care of ourselves is part of this yoga practice. And so this woman who is a CEO for an oil company was being interviewed, and she actually came out about her bipolar challenges in a book called Brainstormed, if you're interested. And she was quoting Audre Lorde, maybe some of you know of her, American poet, and she says that self-care is a radical political act, that it's an act of political warfare. So I thought that was very, very powerful, because a lot of times we think that self-care is a selfish act. We think of self-care as selfish, of taking care of ourselves, but really they so much go together. And what people are saying on this global resilience, climate change summit is that they have different speakers every day. And I can't possibly listen to all of them. But the point is that it begins with us. And so our acts of self-care, of gentle self-care, whether it's 15 minutes a day, can make such a difference. One of her acts of self-care is forest therapy or nature therapy, which is such a beautiful act. And she also uses an acronym, PECS, which stands for her self-care, which is physical, emotional, creative, and spiritual. So I thought I would just share that with you. And so we had a question about pelvic floor, and that's an area of self-care that often goes by the wayside until it's a problem and we need to address it. One of the main foundations of pelvic floor in terms of a yogic perspective is the breath. And so we have a diaphragm. We actually have a few diaphragms. We know about the one as you inhale, everybody start to focus on their breath. The diaphragm that we know about, our big one, as we inhale, the diaphragm moves down. And then as we exhale, the diaphragm moves back up. So we inhale and the diaphragm moves down. We exhale and the diaphragm moves back up. We also have a pelvic floor diaphragm. We also have a pelvic floor diaphragm. Breathing is critical to pelvic floor health. So thank you so much for the question. We have talked about breath, and we do every class, but now for this class, I want you to think about your pelvic floor. So that is the muscles at the bottom of your pelvic floor. It's actually shaped like a hammock or kind of like this diamond. And so you can breathe and not activate your pelvic floor, or keep it kind of neutral, or at the end of the exhale, you can activate it, and at the inhale, release. And so I was taught that one of the main strategies we should take with pelvic floor is learning when to contract and when to release. And that many people hold their pelvic floor. Hold it, right? Because you're afraid and you need to get to a bathroom, right? So if we're always holding it, it's like another muscle. When we contract, contraction doesn't mean strength. You need to actually release and then contract. So that's a long introduction for, let's try this. We're going to inhale through the nose and exhale through the nose. That stays the same. Now start to focus on a complete exhale and a complete inhale. And at the end of your exhale, I want you to squeeze the muscles at the bottom of your pelvic floor. Imagine it like this hammock, and you're pulling it in and up. So it's not just a tightening, it's a pulling in and up, and then the belly tones. Now we release that with the inhale, let it go. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale, take it all the way to the end of the exhale. At the end of the exhale, pull your pelvic floor in and up. And release. Now, we can have short holds and we can have long holds, meaning you could hold your pelvic floor for about 3 counts and then release, or you can do it longer, 5 to 10 counts. In the beginning, it may be tough to hold it because it's weaker. This is normal as we age. This is a complete normal part of aging, but we can strengthen it, which is so cool. So inhale, we breathe in, and exhale. At the end of the exhale, pull your pelvic floor in and up. Now, some of you are saying, I don't know where my pelvic floor is, right? And let it go. It's the muscles that control going to the bathroom. That's where it's at. Inhale, breathe in, it's expansion. Exhale, at the end of the exhale, pull your muscles in and up. Now, we could do a whole training on this that would take hours, but one of the things I learned, and it's something that is not emphasized, is you must release. You cannot always hold it. And it's this pulling in and up. You can practice it once on the potty, but after that, you have to stop because it's training your muscles in the wrong way. Let's roll around on our hips and become keenly aware of your sitting bones, because that hammock that I talked about, this hammock is shaped by our sitting bones that are on the right and left side, and then our pelvic bone. And so those are the muscles, and you can look them up after class, that you are pulling in and up. And visualizing could be very important to know where it is. You know what? We disconnect from our bodies too, right? That's one of the reasons we do the yoga. Reverse the circle. It's really easy to disconnect from our body, especially when it disappoints us. It's very easy to do that. And this is one of the reasons that we engage or we practice yoga or some type of mind-body movement. Awesome. Come back to center. Now tip to your right. Feel that sitting bone or hip. We're off the left. Now tip to the left. We're on the left. We're light on the right. Tip a few times. Tip a few times. This is also helpful for balance. We're tipping one way and then the other. Breath is in and breath is out. Tip it. Lean. Right now, notice as we lean, we start to engage core. The pelvic floor is part of our core. It's not just here, right? So as we lean to the left, we have to engage the left side. The right side, you might feel a stretch. Come back to center. Push down through the right foot. Hang now on the right. Pull the belly in and up, your whole core in and up on the right side. Otherwise, you're going to fall over, right? Come back to center. Now, let's widen here a little bit. Widening into goddess pose or feet wide is a great way to come in contact with the pelvic floor. Now it's widening, right? So some of you may feel a stretch when we go into this pose. The inner thighs get tight. So this is one thing that really helps. We can have a tight pelvic floor. We can have a weak pelvic floor. We can have a strong pelvic floor. We can have an open pelvic floor. We need that balance. Let's circle to the right. Move to the left, come back to center with your heart. Let's go to the left. You may bring your palms together, lean forward, and back to the right. A few times. These are half circles. To the right. Circle forward. Push down through your feet. Back to center. Move to the left. Around to the right. We move back to center. One more time. Really reach now to the right. Circle forward. Move to the left. Get that stretch. Inhale, back to center. Awesome. We are now in Cactus Pose. Feel your shoulder blades on your back. Now, tuck your tailbone down and feel your belly engage and your pelvic floor engage. So I want you on the inhale to actually let the belly go, and it's going to move forward. Your sit bones are moving back. Now, on your exhale, tack your hips down and pull your pelvic floor in and up. Let's do that with hands on the thighs. Exhale, round your spine. Now pull your pelvic floor and your belly in and up. Inhale, let it go. That's the release. As you let it go, draw your shoulder blades on your back. Your sit bones are moving towards the back of the chair. Exhale, round. Gaze in towards your navel. Pull your pelvic floor in and up. Inhale, move forward. Shoulder blades on the back. Sit bones move back. So this is a widening. Exhale, round. Push down through your feet. Pull the pelvic floor and belly muscles in and up. Let's lift tall. Arms into cactus. Inhale, right arm starts to straighten, maybe only to the point where you start to feel a stretch and then you stop. And then exhale, pull down. Pull the elbow back down. Inhale, lift the left arm towards the sky. Exhale, pull it down. Pretend there's a net in front of you. Bring the fingers forward like they're little spiders, like you're going to claw a net in front of you, like a big fishing net. Picture a big net hanging in front of you. Claw your fingers into the holes. Pull the elbows back. That's it. Inhale forward. Exhale, pull back. Notice what happens. As we move forward, you might feel your shoulders come forward. Exhale, we pull back. The shoulder blades move back. They pull in towards each other. One more time. Inhale forward. Exhale, pull back. Really feel that. Now tip your elbows down. So now your shoulder blades are coming in more towards each other. Tack your hips down. Pull your pelvic floor in and up. Extend your arms. Let's give ourselves a hug. Self-care is a radical act of political warfare. Wow, that's a really strong quote by Audre Lorde. Take your right arm under your left. Give yourself a hug. You guys are radical practicing yoga now. You didn't know it, did you? Inhale, open it up. Exhale, give yourself a hug. Real big hug. Good stretch. Inhale, open it up. Exhale, let your arms come down. Now you might adjust your feet a little bit more forward. Here is another way to work the pelvic floor. You're going to push your feet down and pull your heels towards each other as though they have magnets on them. So you're imagining pulling your heels towards each other at the same time, pull your pelvic floor in and up. Let it go. Let's do that again. Take an inhale. At the end of your exhale, pull your heels towards each other as you're pulling them towards each other and push them down like you mean it. And release. Notice how when we pull the heels towards each other, we also start to engage this area. Make sure you're engaging the pelvic floor as well. Release, let it go. One more time, push down, pull in, this time hold it for about 3 counts. 1, 2, 3, let it go. Let it go, release it. Gotta release it, can't always hold it. All right, let's bring our knees back together. That was a while, keeping them apart. Stretch your feet forward, get a good stretch going, push the heels down, circle your toes around and about. Juice up the ankles. And let's drag our heels back in towards each other. Let's do a side bend now with our left leg out to the side and right knee forward. This is a great way to stretch the inner thigh. So if you'll notice, a lot of the yoga poses, you go, oh, we've done that one before. But this is stretching the inner thigh. It's also going to strengthen our core. So we're going to lean now to the left. Take your right arm up your rib cage. Feel the stretch. And lengthen your arm up overhead. Good. Now push down through your heel and pull your toes towards you. Take a breath in and a breath out. Breathe in, reach higher, reach lower. On your exhale, pull your pelvic floor in and up. In triangle pose, this is asymmetrical. Only one side is probably tight. Well, one side is definitely tightening more than the other. Let's push down through our feet, rise up, and pull that heel back in. Other side. Right legs out to the side. Take your time to get there. No rush. I love it. Somebody asked a question about knees on Wednesday and pelvic floor today. Love it. Press your hips down. Now, as you push your hips down, your pelvis may start tilting forward, but we're going to pull it back. Inhale, let's float our arms into T. Relax the shoulders. Relax them even more. Let's turn the palms up, thumbs away. Reach towards your right. Right arm moves downward. Let's feel the stretch along the left side of the body. Feel it, feel it, feel it. So as you lean to the right, this is also a balance posture, right? Because if we don't keep our balance, we're going to fall over. Push your right heel down and pull it towards the chair. Inhale, left arm may lift. Good. Now I want you to take a breath in and feel your heart expand. Really expansive. So you feel your breath out into your fingertips. Exhale. At the end of the exhale, push down through your heel, pull it towards each other. As you pull the pelvic floor in and up, oh my goodness, that's a lot of work. Release, lift up, drag the heel back in. Enough of that. Now, we're going to play with, this is another one of those exercises. You can either use a strap or your hands. You can either use a strap or your hands. So I'll show it first with hands so you can see. We're in, I like to come forward in the chair. We get our posture here, right? Shoulders up and back. Now, you can place your hands on the outside of the thighs, push your heels down and push against the hands. So you're pushing the hands, you're pushing into the hands. Your thighs are moving away. Let that go. Now we're going to push into the hands. Take your hands inside. Pull your inner thighs towards each other. Notice what happens to your pelvic floor. Pull your thighs in towards each other. Notice how you can pull that hammock of the pelvic floor muscles in and up. Release, let it go. Also notice what other parts of your body are tensing when you do this. I noticed that there was a little bit of tension coming up here. We don't want to bring more tension into the upper body. We're isolating it down below. You're going to feel an inner lift because that's the idea, is we're drawing energy in and up. in and up. So imagine like this funnel of energy going in and up. Let's do this again. I'm going to put the strap around just so you can see. This is a nice thing to do for chair pose. It's a good little exercise. Some of you may have done it in PT. But so instead of pressing into your hands, you're pressing into a nice tight strap. And this one's sliding, so I've actually got to hold it on the side here. But so this way, when we push out into the strap, we're working our abductors, the outside. So take an inhale, and then on the exhale, push your thighs into the strap. There's going to be a widening. Let that go. Let's do this a few times. Take an inhale, exhale, push into the strap, but contract at the end of the exhale. Feel that energy go in and up, pushing away into the strap or into your hands. Inhale, let that go. The inhale is the letting go here. It's the expansive. It's the letting it go. And that's an easy thing to get mixed up. Really easy. A lot of people do it. So if you're noticing that, just notice it. The first part is awareness. Now, go ahead and you're going to have to use your hands or actually a block. I should have brought that over. The block is, so you're either, because this is pushing out, right? And then with the block or your hands, you're pushing in. So here we are. Exhale. At the end of the exhale, we're hugging the block. Inhale, let it go. Exhale, press into the block or use your hands on your inner thighs and push into them. That's it, Angie, you got it. Release. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Press into your hands or the block. Release. You don't have to have these fancy yoga blocks. You know, toilet paper rolls work great. Paper towels work too. I don't know what we got against paper towel rolls. So this is very handy for chair pose as well. So we can do, we'll do that in a moment. Go ahead now, open up your thighs once again. Let's get a good side bend in here. Bring the right forearm to the thigh. Lift your left arm upward. Exhale over the ear. You got it. Press down through your feet. Ooh. And inhale and lift up and push down through the balls of the feet, lift the heels. Let's go for that again. Exhale. Reach, 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 reach. Inhale, lift your heels and your ankles. One more time. Exhale, reach. Pull the belly in and up. Press down through your feet, rise up. Exhale, release the heels down. Other side. You may be noticing your body's producing a little heat. So take note. Breathe in. Breathe out. Pull your pelvic floor in and up. Left side. Inhale, the arm reaches. Exhale over your ear. Push down through your feet. Lift your ankles. Release. So what I mean by that, I shouldn't have said feet. It's balls. Balls of the toes, ankles lift. Let's do that again. Side bend. Reach. Reach long. Your longest, not my longest. Now, you're going to push down through the balls of your feet. Lift your ankles as you come into T. Awesome. Release that down. Let it go. Let it go. Now, in order to have a healthy pelvic floor, not only do we need to strengthen it with this squeezing and pulling in and up, we also need to stretch it. So when we go down to the earth, we're going to stretch it. But I just want to show you one thing that I learned in some pelvic floor trainings. A lot of people don't know where their pelvic floor is. So you can take a strap or a belt and roll it like so, and literally place it under your pelvic floor. Now, I'm not telling you this is going to be comfortable, okay? But you put it down and you sit on it, then you will know where your pelvic floor is. So I'm not trying to be funny, but there are things that we can do to, and it's not an April Fool's joke. I literally learned it in a training. So it's not necessarily comfortable, but you could practice a little bit of breathing here. So if you have that, it doesn't have to be a belt. I'm sure you could think of something that would just help give you the cue. It might be like a rolled washcloth and just fold it really small and put it there. So we're going to inhale, feel what's going on down there. Now at the end of the exhale, tighten your pelvic floor muscles. You're going to feel the feedback with that, whatever is underneath there. Inhale, let it go. Okay, so I also want to tell you, you do not want to practice this more than a few times a day. Your brain needs to learn short and long holds because we need both short and long holds. So you can do like a set of, let's say, work up to a set, because if you start to feel fatigued, you're going to want to stop. But let's say, let's say a repetition of 3 to 10, do it a few times. So let's do that. We're going to inhale, exhale, pull the pelvic floor for 3 counts. 3, 2, 1. Inhale, let it go. We're going to do it a few more times. Take an inhale. On your exhale, count of 3. Pull the pelvic floor in and up. 3, 2, 1. Let it go. We let it go on the inhale. Again, take an inhale. At the end of the exhale, 3, 2, 1. We're pulling it in and up. All right, let that go. Let it go. Get it out of here. Just get it out of here. Let's interlace our fingers, press our palms away. I'm showing this to you so you could do it sometime during the day. Bring your arms perhaps up towards your height. May not go all the way, right? And then bring it on down. Open it up, press your palms away, release. Now I'm going to show you what the long hold is. You really should separate the time between practicing short holds and long holds, but just to show you what it is. Some of you might get it to 5 or 4, and some of you might get it to 10. You start where you're at. So if you're fatigued at 4, that's where you stop. All right. So here we go. We take an inhale in. At the end of the exhale, let's hold it for 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. Again, inhale in. Exhale out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it go. One more time. And you can practice this up to 10, but if you feel fatigued, you need to stop. This time I'm going to take it to 7 for our last one. No judgment on ourselves, though, right? Take an inhale in, exhaling, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let it all go. Let's move ourselves down towards the earth for the next part of our practice. If you're coming with me, you might want to put the chair against a wall for safety as you lower down. Bring your blanket, your block, and your strap with you. No tripping on props, so put them where you won't trip on them. And then slowly come on down. Slow, slow, slow. And we will start in cat-cows. Cat-cows is a great place to practice core. You might want to put a blanket under your knees, so do that. You can practice cat-cow in the chair, of course, with your hands on your lap. Let's take our arms forward, hands are forward of our shoulders, fingers are spreading. And like rays of the sun. We don't have rays of the sun going on right now. It's kind of blocked by some clouds today here in southeastern Michigan, but we can still imagine it. And we're going to start with a neutral table, which is shoulder blades on the back and belly pulling in and up. Now we're going to go for cat pose. So exhale, round your spine, tailbone down, chin to chest. Feel your strong arms. Then on the inhale, sit bones rise, heart rises, neck and head follow. That's the release of the pelvic floor. Let's do that with the cat again. That's the pulling in of the pelvic floor. Exhale, chin to chest. The tailbone is angling down towards the floor, down towards your knees. Belly is slurping in towards your spine and shoulder blades are spreading. Let's reverse it. So that's the inhale. Let that squeezing go. Sit bones rise, heart rises, shoulder blades together. Return to neutral. A nice thing to do to loosen up the hip joint, which does feed into the pelvic floor. Let's lift our right knee and circle it around and about. That can be done in the chair. You lift your right knee and circle it around. That's it. You can use a strap underneath your thigh or your hands under your thigh to help you if you're seated in the chair. We're circling the knee to, imagine you're drawing a circle with your knee, your kneecap. And feel the sensation here, right? Like as you take the knee out to the side, there may be a stretch in your inner thigh. The circle can get bigger or smaller. So I find that the bigger movements can be more of a stretch, but a smaller movement is a little bit more of the control and muscular action. Release that knee down, perhaps rock forward and back. In between sides, notice how the weight comes forward in your palms as you lean forward. Now, as you lean forward, tone your belly. As you lean back, you're not quite toning anymore. You could, but you can release it. Pull the belly in and up as you lean forward and lean back. And let's circle the left knee. I'm just turning, so I'm on the left side here. So we lift our left knee, circle it around and about. Circle it around and about. Notice if you feel differences on each side. You very well may. And you might take them a little bit smaller. And release. Let's go towards a child pose or a resting pose. So this is a pelvic floor exercise. It's a exercise of relaxing the pelvic floor. So toes are together, knees are apart. If you're in the chair, you can rest yourself on a chair in front of you or go into a forward fold. So arms move forward, chest relaxes down. You can always put a bolster underneath you if you're going to relax for a while. I'll show it just so you can see it. You can put like pillows underneath you to relax like this, because the idea in child pose for pelvic floor is that we're learning where it is and we're relaxing it. We draw awareness to that area. So a lot of times we've done child pose before, but now our focus is in this particular area. And that's what makes our practice today different than the other day. So we can breathe right here in a relaxation pose. Inhale, feel expansion. Take your mind's eye down there when you were sitting on that rolled tie, and then exhale and let it go. Breathe in, there's expansion. As you breathe in, feel expansion all the way at the bottom base of your spine. Exhale, feel a contraction. It's going to be harder because the knees are spreading a bit. Inhale, let that go. Feel expansion all the way from the base of the spine. exhaling. At the end of the exhale, contract. Pull those 2 points of the hammock towards each other. Release. I'm going to move this bolster out of the way and come to a butterfly pose. So seated butterfly or laying down butterfly, either one is okay. If you're in a chair, you can bring your feet together and knees apart. I do love in a chair doing butterfly with 2 chairs. It's awesome to use 2 chairs, put your feet on a chair in front of you. Really nice thing to do, or on some type of footrest in front of you. You could put it on blocks too. So if you're seated, you probably want to be on a blanket. If you are lying down, this is what it looks like. So you get to choose either seated or lying down butterfly. So this is a great pelvic floor place to breathe. So our knees are apart here and our feet are together and our hands are on our shins. We lift tall. We lift tall. Our hands may be on anywhere on your legs that is helpful to help you prop up, lift tall. So you can, if your hands are on your thighs, you can gently push them down. If your hands are on your ankles, you might clasp them and lift up and out of your waist. Once we got that, so we're getting a stretch here, right? On the inner thighs. Now, take an inhale. At the end of the exhale, pull your pelvic floor muscles towards each other. There's a toning. Inhale, let it go. Exhale, pull in, pull in, pull in, lift up, pull in and lift up through your spine. Imagine this beam of energy, right? Lifting you upwards. Release, let it go. Let's find a twist. We haven't done a twist yet today. So take your left hand, bring it either to your right leg at the shin or at the knee or the thigh. Your right hand's going behind you. Lift tall through the spine. Open up your right shoulder as you turn your head towards the right without cranking the neck. You heard me, right? No cranking neck. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in through your nose. Breathe out through your nose. Breathe in through your nose. And breathe out through your nose. Inhale, move to center. Let's twist the other way. Right hand towards shin or thigh, left hand behind you. Push down through your sitting bones, lift tall. On your exhale, let's turn towards the left. You're using your hand. Your right hand is leveraged to help you turn. So you can push it into your leg. Keep thinking, lift up and out of your waist. Head turns last. Left shoulder blade opens. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. One more time. Breath is in and breath is out. Awesome. Move back to center. All right. We're going to do a few push-ups. I think it's a good idea. We got to do some upper body stuff too. You might have the blanket under your knees. You might put it under your knees. Now, if you're in a chair to do push-ups, you could either use a buddy or place yourself in front of a wall to do push-ups. And so hands again are about shoulder distance apart, maybe a little wider. I started thinking about pecs because I was listening to that podcast and she said she practices pecs every day. So pecs is physical, emotional, creative, and spiritual. So the physical is our yoga. The emotional can very much be our yoga, taking care of that. Creative I'm into that, right? Moving is creative, or maybe you have another practice you do that's creative. And then spiritual. So that would be your spiritual practice. We're going to tone our bellies as we lean forward. Bend your elbows, but keep your shoulder blades on the back. Do not let your shoulders drip down. Pull your shoulder blades together towards each other. Press down, rise up. Maybe rock the hips back. We're going to do this a few times. We lean forward. We bend our elbows. They skim the sides of our body. We pull the belly in and up. Now, if you want to lift your knees, I should say, if it's accessible to you to lift your knees, go ahead and do it. You don't have to, but you can. So lifted knee push up looks like this. Heels are pressing back, belly's pulling in, lean forward, bend your elbows. Do you want to go all the way down like that? Not necessarily, because if you can't do it with control, do not do it. That's my feeling on that. So if we're here, and this is where we can keep control and activate the muscles, this is where we should be. Stop there, then push down through your hands and find a release and stretch on back. Now you can do one more of those, or perhaps you come into downward facing dog. That is an option. So that's with our toes curled under. We lift our hips up, press the heels back. Maybe the legs straighten, maybe they don't. This is weight bearing. We're lifting the underside of our arms. We might bend our knees. We might take our feet a little bit wider. That's okay too. And then exhale and lower down. Let's sway the hips to the right as we gaze to the right hip. And then sway the hips to the left and gaze towards the left hip. One more time, towards the right and towards the left. And lean on back. Let's actually do a little bit of wrist releases here. So circle your arms, your wrists. Yeah, when we do that kind of work, it can put some stress in. So we want to help release that. Circle it around. You also can pull your hand down like so, and then press it away like so. Of course, while you're breathing, right? Now, we're going to go for a lunge, and a lunge can be very helpful for the pelvic floor. It's helpful for the legs. It's helpful for lots of things. But when the inner thighs are tight, that's very, very tough. And I think, in general, I think guys might be a little bit tighter in the this area right here, but females, of course, are as well. So we're going to bring our right foot up. You can use blocks here to help you, or a chair. So I'll bring the chair back so you can see. Put the chair down, and then you can kind of lean on the chair and then bring the right foot up. It's worth it. Takes a little work, but it's worth it. So I'm going to move it out of the way now just so you can see. But so you can use a chair or blocks to help you with some space. Once we're there, let's circle the hips around. Circle the hips around and about. This is a great way to bring in a release to the pelvic floor. While you're doing this, you're probably not contracting. You can play with it, but mostly this is a loosening. So we're circling the hips back to the left, forward to the right, and back and left and forward and to the right. And then bring that knee back. Let's stretch it out. Extend the right leg back behind you. If you're in the chair, you might stretch the leg forward. Push the heel away from you so the foot is flexing, toes towards you. Maybe lift the leg. You don't have your hands on blocks. It's okay. I just happen to have them here. Belly pulls in and up. Tone the right hip. Feel the muscles activate on the right leg. And exhale and release. Other side. We're going to lunge on the other side. You can use the chair or blocks to help lift. Pull the left knee in towards you. Use your hand. Place the left foot forward. Hands on blocks. Hands on chair. Hands on earth. Circle around and about. Hips to the left and back and side and forward. Don't skip any of it because you took a while to get there, right? You made the effort. So once you're there, really draw your circles with your hip. And as you do this, notice the sensation in your inner thighs. Somebody needs to mute. I don't know who it is, but somebody needs to mute. I'm hearing a little feedback. Up. All right. One more circle here. And then bring your knee back. Extend the leg straight back behind you. Push out through the heel. I like to rock it forward and back. It's a nice stretch for the calf. On your next inhale, maybe lift the leg about hip height. Belly pulls in. Imagine your sitting bones and your left sitting bone. The energy from that little pointy sitting bone is angling or directing towards your left heel. Left sitting bone to left heel. Gaze is forward and down. We don't want the neck down here or the neck up there. We want it just about even. Breathe in. Breathe out. You may notice some pressure in your right hip. That's the weight bearing. Release, let it go. And let your hips sway right and left and right. And we will come down onto our backs. Another great place for pelvic floor work. If you have a block, bring it with you. We're going to start in bridge prep pose with the block in between our thighs. So, and if you have the strap, bring that with you as you lower down. Come on down. So it's similar to what we did in the chair. You put the block in between your thighs. On your, take an inhale. On your exhale, squeeze the block. You're going to curl your tailbone. It's going to angle out and away from you towards the back of your mat or towards your toes. Then on your inhale, let it go. So what's happening is you're actually tilting your pelvis forward and back as you squeeze the block. Here's the inhale. We're releasing the squeeze on the block. And if you stuck your hand underneath there, there should be space. You should be able to fit your hand underneath your spine and back when you are inhaling and releasing. On the exhale, squeeze the block with your inner thighs. Pull your belly in and your pelvic floor in. You're going to feel your ribs press back and down into the earth. Inhale, release. Tilt the pelvis back forward. Exhale, crunch. Let's go for a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, release. Again, take an inhale. Exhale, crunch it in. 3, 2, 1, release. If you don't feel fatigued, go for a round of a count of 5. Inhale. Exhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pull your pelvic floor in. Imagine tightening the muscles that control going potty. On the inhale, release those muscles. Let it go. Let's lift up into bridge now. So we're going to push down through our feet and inhale, lift our hips. Arms are down by the side. If you want a robot position, then take it. That's bending the elbows, palms towards each other. If you want to press the hands down with them long, that's fine. Some people like to interlace their fingers underneath and then roll their shoulders underneath them, and that feels very good too. You do want to make sure there's not too much pressure on your neck. Please, no pressure on your neck. And you want to have space in between your neck and the mat. That means that your neck is not pushing down into the mat. Let's exhale, lower the hips down. We're going to inhale and lift the hips. Tone our pelvic floor muscles. Squeeze the block. Push your heels down and towards you. Feel your thighs stretch. It's like you feel lengthening from the top of your thighs out through your knees. On your inhale, let that go. Release the hips down. Breathe in and breathe out. Push down through your feet. Inhale, lift your hips up. Rock your shoulders underneath you. Press down through your feet. Pull your heels in. Tone your pelvic floor. Squeeze the block for a count of 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Let it go. How are your hips feeling? You might be feeling some tightness over there because we are toning our hips. Take a breath in and a breath out and a breath in and a breath out. And let's take the block and place it in our palms and press our palms into the block up overhead, over your head. Or over your face. Now, we're going to take the block back behind us as we push our palms into the block. Keep pushing your palms into the block as you stretch back behind you. And then inhale, lift your arms back up over your nose. Exhale, stretch your arms back behind you. Notice as you do that, your ribs may be lifting, your lower back may be lifting. Inhale. Bring the block back over your nose. The next time we do this, try to keep pushing your ribs down into the mat. So here it goes. We take our arms back behind us. As we do that, push your lower ribs down into the floor or the earth. Inhale, the arms come back up. It's a lot easier to keep the ribs down when you come back up. Let's do that again. Lower the palms back behind you. Push into the block with your palms. Press your ribs down into the earth. Inhale, lift up. You got it. Now, if you want to lengthen your legs, you can. It's going to be the same motion. Block back behind you. Push your palms into it. Press your ribs down into the mat. Release, let it go. Let's give that block a break. Let's give the block a break. Now, we're going to go into banana pose. Haven't done this one in a while. You're going to walk your feet towards the right and then your upper body towards the right. So if you're not on the earth, it's a side bend, and you might take your right hand to your left wrist and find a side bend. Breathe in. And breathe out. Imagine yourself in the shape of a banana. Now, if you want to cross your left leg over your right, feel free. That's not accessible to everybody. It depends on your hips. So take care of your hips. Inhale back to center. We're going to go the other way. So now you're going to take your legs to the left, your upper body to the left, and you might take your left hand to your right wrist as you side bend towards your right. You are in a banana pose towards your left. So you're getting a stretch through the right side of the body. Once you get there, take a few breaths there. Breathe in. Breathe out. Feel the lengthening on the right side of the body. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, come back to center. Come back to center. Let's do our final spinal twist. So bring your knees in, let your knees fall to the right, arms into cactus. Soft breath in, soft breath out. Let the left shoulder and arm relax. If the arm is lifting up, you can place a block or a pillow or something underneath your shoulder for it to rest on. Bend your elbows, may help as well. Stay as long as you want on this side. And then when you're ready, you're going to go to the other side. So we bring our knees into our chest, maybe stop along the way in the middle and roll the spine right and left. Massage the sides of the spine. Right and left rolls. Then allow your knees to fall to the left as you gaze to the right. You do not have to turn your head if it's available to you. You would turn your head towards the right as your knees move to the left. Take anywhere from 3 breaths to 10 breaths in this pose. Feel the sensation of twisting. We're going to inhale and come to center. Your knees are bent. Bring your right knee in towards you and pull the right thigh towards you and the knee towards your right shoulder. And you might take your hands to your shin or your lower leg as you pull the knee in towards you. That's a nice inner thigh stretch or back of the thigh stretch. If you want, if you're not feeling the stretch, you can go ahead and lengthen the left leg away from you. Push the heel away from you, toes towards you. Breathe in and breathe out. Let it go. Breathe in. Breathe out. Let's switch sides. Pull the left knee in towards you. Maybe drop the right foot down. Use your hands on the lower leg to pull the knee into your shoulder. And be right here. Be right here so you can feel the stretch. If you say to yourself, I don't think I'm feeling anything, you can drag the right heel forward until the right leg straightens and you start to feel something. You'll feel it on the left inner thigh, but you also might feel it on the top of the right quad. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhaling and exhaling. And exhaling and inhaling. Bring the knees in towards you. Give yourself a hug. Roll right and left. And find your way to your final resting pose, Shavasana. So you could go back to that lying down butterfly. You could put a bolster underneath your knees, but I want you to focus on relaxing your pelvic floor, whichever pose you take for relaxation, and you might put a blanket on top of you. Whatever pose you choose for your relaxation pose, I want you to think about getting heavy in the pelvic floor, meaning letting go. Feel a sense of release and letting go, especially in the lower abdominal and pelvic floor region. So relaxing all those tense muscles, let that go. Breathe in, breathe out. As you breathe out now, you are not tightening or contracting. You're letting go, air out through the nose. Don't pull the belly in and up here. Soften, breathe in. Soften, breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. And breathe out. Begin to let the breath be effortless. Let go of trying, pushing, hoping, pulling. Just let the breath be as it is. Feel the air gently enter the nose and leave the nose. Feel the belly rise and fall. Feel a filling on the inhale and a releasing and letting go on the exhale. Soft breathing, belly breathing, low breathing, slow breathing. Soft, slow, low, and deep, meaning belly. Relaxing the whole body, breathing in and breathing out. Relaxing. Restoring. Renewing. Refreshing. Remembering that self-care, which means resting, resting is part of self-care. Relaxing is part of self-care. Breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. As you're ready, come back to your breath. You can stay in this resting pose, or you can rise to seated as we close together. So I encourage you to rest. If you're in a nice, steady, resting state, stay right there. Be right there with your body. If not, slowly rise to seated. Bring our palms together in front of our heart as we bow in. Thank you so much for joining me in this radical act of self-care. Namaste, everyone.